Hello, welcome to Real Talk. I am your host, Paul Britton. Sorry about the little technical snafu I just had just now. Normally we have a little musical intro, but the musical intro decided it didn't want to play, and I'm not entirely sure what to do to fix that. Anyway, I'm your host, Paul Britton. This is Real Talk. We are today just I got a couple movie reviews. It's gonna be a quick one, just popping in, saying hello. Here are a couple movies I saw popping out. The first one I saw was Babygirl, starring Nicole Kidman as the titular baby girl. I'm kidding. She's not actually plays a baby girl, but um, she plays a CEO of a not Amazon, but like the company that provides Amazon with the machinery that they need in their warehouse. Okay. So that's she's the CEO of that company. Antonio Banderas plays her husband, who's a director on Broadway, and Harris Dickinson, who we have seen in movies like The Iron Claw. We've seen him in Triangle of Sadness. He was really good in Triangle of Sadness. And we saw him in if you Beach Rats going back before that. He's been in some stuff. He's been in some stuff. Harris Dickinson plays a intern, a brand new intern in Kidman's Amazon adjacent company. And they strike up an interesting relationship. He chooses her as his mentor as part of the internship program, and there is obvious chemistry and weirdness going on. Like, Nicole Kidman doesn't know exactly how to deal with the chemistry. And one of the things that it becomes obvious pretty early on is that and we actually see this in they show some scenes with Nicole Kidman being intimate with Antonio Banderas, and then she gets turned on by the idea of being dominated, and Harris Dickinson picks up on that and begins to basically develop a dom sub relationship with Nicole Kidman. And okay, so first of all, I'm going to make a reference to another movie that came decades before this one. I'm going to say 2002, 2003, Secretary. James Spader and Maggie Gyllenhaal, where James Spader is a lawyer, Maggie Gyllenhaal is sent in as or tries to get a job as his receptionist. He is just an absolute sadist and a dom, and she turns out is into that. So this dynamic is definitely different. Like, it's, that one, it was clearly he was a sadist, whereas this is just she just likes to be told what to do, and she just likes to have sex with a young dude that's kind of hot. Who doesn't, right? So this movie's not going to be for everybody. Like, if you have a problem, if you one have a problem with variable sexual and relationship dynamics that are off the beaten path, this one might have might be a problem for you. If you have a problem with any show of dominance over women, like this one's, you're definitely going to have a huge problem with this one. But if you understand that this is not just a show of dominance over women, but rather an exploration of the dominant versus submissive sexual dynamic, as well as better understanding who has the power in that dynamic, does the dynamic, how does this translate, and how does it change if that dynamic is brought into a work setting? It really is genuinely a really hot, steamy, and very interesting exploration of this. And yeah, I went early on early on a Saturday morning. It was super. I was the only one in the theater, and not saying I did anything, but certainly was turned on by the whole everything that's going on. Okay, so just really quick, Blair asks a question about Antonio Banderas. I'm going to read this whole thing. Who cheats on Antonio Banderas? Okay, so who cheats on Antonio Banderas? So that's a really good question, and that is explored in this. Okay, this movie is an exploration. Okay, this movie is an exploration of what constitutes a healthy sexual relationship and what constitutes fulfillment within that relationship, and what different dynamics can come into play to create a healthy sexual dynamic. And one thing is clear: Nicole Kidman doesn't not love Antonio Banderas. She just doesn't get off on fucking him. That's it, or she doesn't get off as fucking him as much as she does being demeaned and controlled by Harris Dickinson and fucking him um, as her intern. So it, it's a great exploration of what could possibly happen within this dynamic. And like, if you like Hot and Steamy, I would absolutely recommend it. It's out in theaters now. Babygirl's worth a watch. I am giving this one, so this is probably just okay. So here at Real to Real Talk, we do tacos instead of stars. And if we feel like something deserves a little extra, instead of doing half a taco, we'll add guac. Why? Because nobody eats half a fucking taco. That's why. So I'm gonna go ahead and do 3 tacos plus guac on this one. So baby girl gets 3 tacos plus guac from me. Why? All right. So it's probably just a 3 taco movie. It's absolutely worth watching. It's absolutely worth exploring if you can sort of open your mind up to it and just accept it. But I fucking loved the ending. Like, the ending just really, really worked for me because Nicole Kidman reasserts her dominance within the workplace while maintaining uh you know a healthy attitude on sex, even though it is outside of what would be considered the norm, the normal attitude on sex life. So I the whole movie worked for me, and it's not getting very good reviews. It's middling, okay, people like it, but I really liked it. I thought it was quite solid, and if Nicole Kidman gets nominated, yes, absolutely. Okay, so the other movie I'm going to talk about here is Hundreds of Beavers. This movie came out in the spring. It had, this is a no budget movie. This is a movie made by a dude who, you know, probably shot it on his phone with some friends of his, and then created a whole bunch of animations to, uh, you know, superimpose, and it's practically a silent film. Like, there you know there's maybe a dozen words total uttered throughout, and unless you consider beaver talk to be, and don't get dirty, unless you consider beaver talk to be speaking, which I don't. So English words, about a dozen. Um, this is a this is a movie about a guy who sells apple cider, like alcoholic apple cider, gets drunk off of his own apple cider, ends up burning down his, like, the place where he makes his apple cider. So he has to find something else to do. So he decides to become a fur trapper, um, and with almost no success until he is taken under the wing of the best fur trapper in the area who shows him what to do and then becomes his Jedi master, and we all know what has to happen to Jedi masters. So the apprentice must, who, oh, by the way, happens to fall in love with this sort of like the I gotta call him the buyer. Like he's the guy that runs the whatever business it is that is wants to buy beaver skins and rabbit skins and stuff. So he's the buyer. So he ends up falling in love with the buyer's daughter, and there's some fun interactions between those two. Um, all of this is conjecture on my part because, again, there's no dialogue. Like we're stuck with the actions of people and not the words. I see why this movie is so stupid and so much fun. It's available right now on Prime. You can just pop it in. You can hop off of this right now and just pop in Hundreds of Beavers. It's basically an hour and 45-minute Roadrunner versus the Coyote show. If the Roadrunner versus the Coyote show, the Coyote actually got better as we went along in catching the Roadrunner, to the point that he actually started catching the Roadrunner, lots of Roadrunners, and is then tasked with catching hundreds of Roadrunners in order to win the hand of and the approval for the hand of his maiden fair. And he needs to catch these, he gets better at it. And so it's almost like the multiple times that he falls off cliffs and is thwarted is captured by his own traps, and just things are going south and going south and going south. He's actually learning along the way, and he is able to translate that into a skill that is profitable for him. And he no longer has to run around in the snow naked because he used all his clothes. He used all of his clothes for making traps. So look, if you grew up with Looney Tunes and you like the dynamic of the Coyote and Roadrunner, and you're good with the idea of watching an hour and 45 minutes of it, and then at some point you want to watch the Coyote get captured by a whole bunch of Roadrunners and then put in Roadrunner jail, and then put in Roadrunner trial, at which point they're planning on skinning you, returning the favor, skinning you and turning you into a coat. This is the movie for you. There's so much about this movie that is just ridiculous and absurd and brilliant and funny and fun. Like the title card, like there's like 3 different title cards for this movie that they stretch out over the whole 1 hour and 45 minutes. Like, so like, like you don't land on the title of the movie until like you're about an hour and 15 minutes into the movie. Like basically it sets up, like starts act 3. I there's nothing more I could, like, literally it is just a Roadrunner movie. That's all it is. But I'll be damned if it isn't really fun, really funny, and well thought out and well put together. I mean, Christ, most of everything is like, all of the animals are people in animal suits, and the people are real, but everything else is just like hand drawn, like backgrounds and stuff. The beavers, so the beavers all work together to build a dam, and they don't just build a dam; they build a hydroelectric power plant. That is what they have built. They have built a 1890s version of a hydroelectric power plant, and it's brilliant, and it's so much fun. So I hope you'll turn on Prime and watch Hundreds of Beavers. Let's give it a rating. We're going for tacos. I would watch it every single time over Babygirl. So yeah, it's if I gave Babygirl 3.5, I have to give this one 4. Just because, just no doubt, Hundreds of Beavers all the time, every time. Yeah, so enjoy Hundreds of Beavers, enjoy Babygirl. I will be back here. There's a Den of Thieves sequel coming out that I'm probably gonna try to go see. If I don't get to see it, I'm taking next week off. Because I don't think any of the big Oscar stuff comes until the week after. But if big Oscar stuff starts coming out, and specifically, I'm talking about the Nickel Boys. I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to The Brutalist, and there's a couple others. Oh, The Last Showgirl comes out. I don't know if I'm going to say The Last Showgirl. But yeah, there are options. So I potentially will see you next week. Otherwise, 2 weeks, we'll figure it out. I'll be here. Go see movies. Enjoy. Thanks for stopping by. I'm Paul Britton. This is Real to Real Talk. Hope to see you again.